Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Briggs and Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. It is Wednesday, October 23rd. What the heck? Halloween is 8 days away. Get the candy, get the costumes, don't leave it to last minute. Anyways, this next guest is truly an outstanding human being as well as a high performing athlete and artist. She is a creative producer, a director, a choreographer, and of course, a dancer. And she is pushing limits to the point that have just left me speechless. Booking early jobs when she was so young in Vancouver, British Columbia, like Sesame Street, Disney, Outer Limits. We talk about the impacts that conventions had on her life, her time working with outstanding choreographers like Kenny Ortega, who did High School Musical. And then we also talk about her experience working with Taylor Swift. I mean, this episode is outstanding, and I'm so excited to release it to the world. So please give a well rounded applause for Teya Wild. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, lovely. How are you?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty
Awesome.
well. Can you
Great.
hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good, because there's a storm happening right now in Miami,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
like downpour central. And so I popped on my AirPods, which I usually don't do. So let me know if you ever can't hear me, and I'll change that up.
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay, good. Where am I finding you?
I am in LA right now.
Oh, fantastic. How's the weather there?
It's good. It's getting chillier. I can feel the shift finally, because it's been a pretty hot summer, so it's nice. I can't complain. There's no flash floods. There's nothing crazy going on over here.
Good. Good, because we are under like severe hurricane watch right now, which is just interesting, especially from coming from like the prairies in Alberta to this sort of weather. It's been
Wait,
wild.
what are you doing in you said Miami?
Yeah, doing some directing work for Royal.
Are you at Bay
Um,
Vista?
my God, yes.
So that's exactly why it's not good too during the flash floods.
No,
It's scary there.
full on pipe bursted last night, which
Oh
was
wow.
no correlation to the hurricane. No water.
Oh my God.
The fact that you know Bay Vista, why do you know Bay Vista?
So I come and do an install for one of the shows, but thankfully I don't stay at Bay Vista, but I've like stayed with my friends and hung out. But like I've seen the conditions that it's under and it's not good. Some people like deck their places out. Like your place looks really cute.
You mean Fern?
Yeah, and the painting and everything, it
I
looks
know
it looks
it's giving Horton, it's giving Martha Graham.
good. You wouldn't know where you're
Um,
at. It looks like a hotel.
no, masked that thing day one. We got this second span. Thank you for coming on, Taya. I am like such an admirer of yours, and it's so funny because with the guests that I've had on, I always just kind of ask like who they would recommend in their circle in their network that I should bring on, and so many times you keep popping up. So
Oh, that's nice.
I was like, I'm reaching out. So thank you for agreeing.
Oh,
Usually the episodes are like an hour-ish long, and there is absolutely no format. It's whatever we kind of come up with organically over the chat. Usually I start with a little background on who you are, and then obviously kind of focusing in on your experience in the industry and your love for dance and the art form. But other than that, just here to have a good time.
awesome. Yeah, no, I'm down to connect with you. And we worked together, right? Like now that I'm seeing your face, I remember you, right? We worked together on the TV show with the Grease show, right?
Rising the Pink Ladies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's I think where we met.
Yeah, so fun. Taya, for like guests, I have sort of an array of listeners. Lots do come from the industry, but some aren't at all. So I think it's important just to give like background Coles notes on where you were born and raised, and then how that sort of weaved its way and then has now been your tapestry for where you are now. So if you will, just like some background on who you are and where you came from.
Cool. So for people that don't know, my name is Teya Wild. I'm a choreographer slash dancer, director, creative producer. I've been doing this since I was a little kid. Uh, I started in dance studios, actually in Vancouver, a dance studio named Dance Co. So that was my first like dance studio that I would say I remember taking class and liking it and loving certain styles. And then from there, I moved to North Van, and then my home base until I graduated high school was Seymour Dance. So, I've been to a couple different dance studios. I've indulged in all the styles. I can really get into that after, but where I was born was Toronto, and when I was about 3 years old, I moved to Vancouver. So I didn't spend much time in Toronto, just, got popped out and moved to Vancouver. Um, so, at an early age, I would make my little brothers dance with me all the time. I would force them to do the splits and like just dance. And clearly I love to dance. So my mom put me into that. I did gymnastics for a little bit, but as much as I was strong, I wasn't really like that flexible kind of kid. So that stopped real quick. And then I would also turn around, and if she wasn't watching me, my mom wasn't watching me, I would definitely not want to do it anymore. So dance was just super fun. Uh, I was fully engulfed in like competitive styles. So, I auditioned for it, got it, all those excitements when you're young. But the last style of dance that I really fell in love with and that I got to do was hip hop. Thankfully, Seymour Dance had a lot of great teachers. My first hip hop teacher was Melissa Panton, which, I'll bring her up again, but she's now my agent in Vancouver. So she's known me since I was like maybe 10. She's known me for a long time, maybe 15. Um, so yeah, I loved hip hop. I did the competitive stuff with that. I met some great
And
friends.
Tia, when you say, sorry, when you say like good teachers, and I think I know where you're going with this, are you specifically referring to like that authentic foundations of hip hop and where it came from, like the traditional styles, or are you meaning something or different?
I think I just was like, oh my God, I'm moving and grooving and my body's letting loose. And I've just always been doing lyrical and ballet and all the other fundamentals, not hip hop. So when I got introduced to hip hop, it was just so fun. And all my teachers, like Melissa Panted, like Alex Pasusic, who subbed, Eric Malapad was our like ongoing teacher. Like I've had like a lot of different teachers that I would agree with you did actual hip hop styles. So mainly, I would say house. But it was cool to just feel free and like this was something that my body really needed and loved, and I felt like myself. So, closer to the end of high school, I was just like so full time in the dance studio. And all my friends were like, oh my gosh, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to go take a year off and travel the world, or I'm going to go to university or college. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to teach at Seymour Dance, where I was graduating. And because, they did know me so well, they were like, oh, you could start teaching the kids program. So I was just kind of like, no, I think I'm going to keep dancing. Completely opposite of anybody I knew from my own high school.
And
So
did you have encouragement from family friends at that time, like that weren't in the dance industry? Like, how was the parent figures in your life? How were the teachers at your school? Who was your support base at this point?
So I was really not into school at all, high school. I was, and you know what it is? My high school and my dance studio were 10 steps away from each other. So it was really like, okay, where's that bell so I could go to dance? Like it wasn't
Mm,
like, oh my God,
just
I want.
itching.
Yeah, and it was so easy to go to dance. It was like my second home. I had full support from my mom. So whatever I wanted to do anytime, like maybe money wasn't there, but we would figure out a way to do it. So I had
Yeah.
that support from her when I graduated as well. It was clear I was not going to be a lawyer or anything like that. Um, and I was going to be in the arts. But I think what kind of also made my mom believe that I truly did love what I was doing is I was already at an early age, like doing commercial work and TV and like stuff like that. My mom would already put me and my brother in an agency, and we did like Sesame Street.
Oh,
Like, yeah. Like, so I've been doing it since I was a little kid, more so acting, but dancing was the icing on the cake because there was some commercials for like Radio Disney, and there was like couple Kodak commercial and a couple other commercials that had me moving and dancing, and they would bring a choreographer, and it was just something I had so much fun doing. So in high school, I was like, no, pretty sure I could do it. You know, whether I knew what that meant or not, no, but I knew I could be like the best dance teacher I could be. So getting in back into high school, like and graduating, I would teach at the studios, all like a couple different ones in North Vancouver, because I just wanted to stay in the area that I lived. And I was getting pretty good money. I was getting like what, 35 an hour. Like I was teaching 8 to 10 hours a week. So I was feeling it. I was like, this is cool, this is fun. And then, I think there was a movie audition right after I graduated. It was called Zapped, um, and I auditioned for that, and I booked it, and that was like a 6-month job, which is like,
Wow.
really doesn't happen right now in Vancouver. But that was like my first big movie as a dancer because we were a chorus performer. So, you're getting the same
Wow.
dancing and like acting rate. So, and you're in
What
rehearsal.
year would have this been?
Ooh, I graduated '06, not to freaking tell my age or nothing, but and then I would say it was like a year or two after I graduated.
Okay.
And
And so, yeah, that's wild. Like to hear 6 months worth of work.
do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, from audition to skeleton to rehearsal to shooting, we were the movie. We made the
What a
movie.
project,
Yeah.
right? For you to like, obviously you had experience prior to, but just like a project for you to really get your skin in the game, your teeth sunken into it, and like make connections. I'm sure, like preaching to the choir, but that's a wicked way to sort of kick off your first year out of high school or a couple years out of high school.
And the good thing too is that was with an American choreographer. Their names are Nick and RJ. So like to have them come in and then that's how you obtain your visa eventually when I fast forward into my career. But I also had Kelly Kono on it with them, who is like a freaking G in Vancouver. And I got to work with people that I looked up to that I was then training with Kim Sato and Menina Fortunato. So we were all in the same group together. So, these people are like 15, 20 years older than me. So it was really inspiring for my first job to learn from, people I look up to that I'm now training with and now working with. So that was a cool
Matt,
shift.
good for you for because at that point you you have obviously the skills and the talent, but there's clearly a mindset that you have, a way that you hold yourself in a room, a maturity level that somebody saw and went, yeah, she's able to take on this 6 month project with
Hmm.
this group of legends. So,
Hmm.
would you say that you realized that you were not only very gifted as a dancer, but also just had like the right mindset and the right framework mentally? Or did you not realize that at all at that age?
I don't think I think I was a confident girl. I mastered auditions because I knew how to perform, and I was pretty good at picking up steps. Obviously, I had my own style, but I was very, I would say I was very confident going into auditions, but um, I would say I didn't know. Like I was just going with the flow, like let's see what happens kind of thing. Very like green and open to learning and but doing a good job while I was doing it. But then I think it helped being around professionals on your job because we're not shitting around, they're not effing around. They're very serious about the job and they're very professional and they know certain do's and don'ts. So you kind of pick that up quickly and I think I was aware of that. And also being with choreographers that are to that stature, like they also expect a certain professionalism. So I think I was thankful that I learned quick.
Yeah,
But I will say
started in the deep end.
I've not made as a dancer that much money than I did on my first film. Isn't that crazy? Like I made a lot of money and that's when I was like, yeah, catching up with my girlfriends who were abroad and in university in debt, like just pushing forward for school and I was just living my best life. Like
You're
it was, yeah, it was just really cool. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing what I love and like this is so cool. I'm getting paid to do what I love to
Yeah,
do. Um,
yeah.
so shortly after that, I won't make this so long, but like thinking back, it's like a lot to dive into, but because I've been
No,
doing it
but
for,
these are like, and
yeah.
and I do sometimes I have a structure, sometimes I don't, but I think it's so good to like take you back, take the guests back into their journeys, because I think there's some crucial moments, some highlights upon the how you were raised, grew up, and then your beginning works and projects that really did sort of carve the trajectory for your future in the industry. So I feel like this is your first job. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge, and that sort of set the pace and a good starting base for you to kind of like use it as a catalyzer to get you forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like out of that project, then I imagine you were just like all guns ablaze and ready to keep going. Was there any smack you in this cross the face moments nearly after that, or was it just very like snowball effect into bigger projects?
Um, I would say now, like being the age I'm at and looking back, I don't remember any of those gaps because, there always will be in this profession that people choose as dance, but there's going to be so many lows, but then the highs when they come, it like clears out, a really maybe depressive, bad state of time where you weren't working or you were stagnant or you were wishing you had what you didn't, and like, you know what I mean? So I feel like now looking back, I wouldn't say there was any moment where I was like, oh, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna stop. Like it was kind of like, okay, let's see what's next. Um, but what was next was my training because I came out of that dance studio, kind of knowing the styles I liked, but I wanted to master hip hop. So I went into an audition for. I actually auditioned for The Source. And ITP wasn't happening at that point when I auditioned. But for Source, I think I made the callbacks and then I didn't make it. But my good friend that graduated the same time frame as me, she was also in the same stage in her life. She got the Source. So I was like, okay, cool. And the dancer she is and me are completely different. So I was very aware of that, but at the same time, it still stung because I was like, what kind of training am I going to get while I'm out of the dance studio? Like, I need something. And so the other thing that I saw on the bulletin board was what was it called? Soldiers, Project Soul Productions. And that was, again, with Kim Sato. So I was like, oh, like, this is kind of cool. So I auditioned for that. That was obviously something I got into. And then I
And
would,
Did Louise do that one as well?
yes, so she did the year before I did. So I just
Yeah,
missed.
that's
So
funny.
yeah, so getting into that, I was like full time, well, not full time, but like training with this company, and it just felt like so great. It was like a family, and I was learning all the fundamentals now of hip hop, and soon to just fall in love with the styles, and then I could actually consider and call myself a hip hop dancer, and not just like a commercial or studio dancer. Like I was very aware that I knew hip hop was the style that I wanted to perfect.
Mm.
So I started traveling around BC with them to all the school districts, and that was fun because I was doing it again with people I looked up to. Jeno, my teachers, Trevor at the time, Jameson at the time, Kim, Natasha Gorey. Like we were all paid to travel around to all the schools and just spread the love of hip hop. So that was really, really fun for me to just kind of perform for kids. So I was like, okay, this is fun, and I'm getting paid a little bit of money to do it. So that was a fun project for like I think it was a year and a half.
Brilliant. Brilliant. What age was this? Was this like early 20s?
Yeah, I don't even think maybe yeah, okay, very early 20s because after that stopped, I auditioned for we had So You Think You Can Dance
Right.
Canada for 4 years only, which is so sad. And I auditioned for the fourth season, um, and I ended up making the show as a contestant. And so from there, I then would be in Toronto, and that was where
Right.
my home, where I was born. So it was really cool for me to explore and see family out there and spend a little more time outside of when I got eliminated. I would still decide to move out there after the show just because now I have a newfound family from So You Think You Can Dance. And there's now
Mm.
little jobs here and there that I worked for, like for Sean Cheeseman, for Luther Brown. Like it was cool because it was different than what I've done in Vancouver.
Totally. And did you have an agent at this time or not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, cool. So you were like planting roots, growing connections in Toronto. And
Actually,
what
I might have lied to you. I might have been with an agent at that time.
and and I think it's so Would you say, I don't know how it's changed in the industry. Definitely, there's a lot of closed to agents only auditions. At that time, was there a lot more open to public auditions, or was it still very closed off, if you can recall?
So in Vancouver, it would be both. There would be hopefully like a close call for just DaCosta because there wasn't any other dance agency, and then there would be an open call too. So there would be
Right.
both. So everyone got a chance to audition, but you would want to go in your agency one because it'd be less people and then more structured and like organized and you know, you would
Yeah,
be taken
not
care
too
of.
cattle collie.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
Exactly.
So Toronto, and then your career, like I know you ended up in the States, and I know that's where you're based now. So what the frick? How did you get the balls? And maybe you're like, what do you mean the balls? Like you just go. But like it's nerve-wracking.
Mhm.
And especially like Canadians can be very, and this isn't to lump them all in, but like can be very shy, and not present themselves well in the state's audition rooms or the state's classes, like
Mhm.
conventions or whatever it is. So, did you fake that confidence, or did you just, like you said, when you were younger, you just had it in you always to get yourself into LA and you just knew that was where you had to go? How did that work?
So from Vancouver to then kind of checking a lot of the boxes of my goals, then to Toronto to being like, oh, cool, this was fun. I was there for like almost 2 years, again checking off some of my goals. To go back to Vancouver, it had to be for like a purpose or reason. And at that point, as a Canadian dancer performer, so you think you can dance was considered like the highest stature of if you have been on that show and you have other stuff to back it up that you could probably get your visa.
Yeah.
So and I met a lot of other people from the show prior to my season that had already, gotten their O1 visa, had referred me to their lawyers, had kind of helped me understand what it meant to get a visa. And so at that point, I was like, okay. So it took me a full year after Toronto. I would go back to Vancouver to save a little bit of money, teach, be around my family again. And then that's when I started to work on my visa, which the first one is so hard, absolutely so hard and ridiculous. But again, it helps if somebody knows to help you and guide you and mentor you. I didn't have that. Yes, I would ask questions and stuff like that, but nobody held like a program or was open to mentoring or you just didn't, as you said, Canadians are very like, you know, shy and stuff like that. So I would just not want to bother people about certain things because I knew
Mm.
what who the lawyer was to contact. I knew X, Y, and Z, but I didn't have like a
And it's
direct.
not cheap either. Like it's such a process
Yeah,
to
it is.
to get. And you're also paying for a non-guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
visa as well. So and that's why I wanted to spend time on this topic and ask you about it, because it does take balls to do it. Like you have to know for certain that this is what you want to do and you're going to commit it all to getting that visa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it sounds like your mom was supportive ever since you were young. I'm sure she was supportive at this point in your
Mm-hmm.
life. Was there other figures in your life at this time that really just kind of like cheered you on when nobody else was, or did you bootstrap it? Like, who was
I would
around you?
I would say it would be just my dance friends because they understood the assignment. I would say it was Mackenzie Green, Carlina Britch, a couple other people that at the time were working on their visas or had just obtained it. So it was nice to be able to ask them, and some of them did use the same lawyers. But then that would also get to your head because as much as I've done the same work as Mackenzie and Carlina, for example, I've done a lot of different things as well. But they also need expert letters from these choreographers, and they need their agents to be there to sponsor them and all the things, right? So you can't really measure what you're doing compared to what they're doing because every case is so different. And that's what was really hard for me is I was like, why are all these things that I'm giving my lawyer not good enough? He just kept saying, give me more, give me more. This is not good. Give me that. Like things that I didn't have, he would ask me to get. And it was frustrating because I know that the other person wasn't asked to do those things.
Right.
when you do know people's cases and then you deal with your own case, it is frustrating because every month is different. The system in America changes, or they now want a different letter of resource. It is frustrating. There was one example, I won't share the name, but my friend was working on her visa as well with a separate lawyer, and we would meet at the cafe and work on our visas together this one time. And she was just breezing through. Everything she sent her lawyer was like, oh, check, check, check. She's like, oh, this is more than enough. And then I would be like, really? Like, she's telling me about her process. And I was like, and then I'm telling her, mind you, I would say at that time, my resume was extremely more than hers. And I love her to death, but let's be very honest. I had a lot of things going for me, but my lawyer, wherever they process their cases,
Mm,
are very different than where she gets hers processed. So I was very aware quickly that it had nothing to do with the lawyers. It's also the system and who submits where, and who has maybe fraudulent letters, who can do this and that. It was just very clear to me that it was all BS.
and imagine an eye-opening experience for you as
Money
well.
involved. Money involved. You're like, I just had to pay this extra money. You didn't have to pay that letter? No, no, she said it was all good. I was very aware quickly. So I will be honest with people that are trying to get it. I left that lawyer because I was like, there's no damn way that I'm seeing all these examples and I'm still at a standstill because they're giving me more things to work on. And then my girlfriend now is approved and moving to
Ooh.
LA. So thankfully, I did monitor that and I was aware that that lawyer just wasn't for me. And there are different lawyers out there. And when I moved, I breezed through everything I had then had. That lawyer, the new lawyer, was like, "Oh yeah, you're good to go." Like, yeah, just yeah.
Jeez.
So I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's every lawyer is not for everyone.
Right. Good. Noted.
Yeah,
So important for
it
dancers and
is
for
very
honestly
important.
any alien with a special talent to know. Um, okay, so then visa approved. I couldn't even imagine the feeling that you had when you saw that approval letter. Um, and then did you instantly have that fire under your ass to get booked just because of the expiration date on these things, or did you take it slow? Did you already have something lined up? Like, what did that look like?
Oh my goodness. So I think to go back from like that first movie I booked, since then I had also been able to work on quite a few jobs that came to Vancouver. So I met a lot of choreographers that helped me get my first visa. So building those relationships ahead of time with these American choreographers really helps you when you do move to LA because, if it's something that they want to do, like, yes, they'll sign you a letter, but do they really care to work with you when you get to LA? Some people, no, they don't care about that at all. They're just nice people and want to help you. But some people are like, oh my God, let me know when you're in LA. Like, we're going to get this work started. So when I moved to LA, I would say it was very slow, but I was also just enjoying life. This was my first time an apartment that I had a roommate. Before I would just be couch surfing in Toronto. So now, I'm paying for rent. I'm buying things for my apartment. With my roommate Mackenzie Green, and like we're doing things for me for the first time. So I was
Mm,
very excited for that sense of stability for myself and to figure out like how it felt to be alone and in the States. So I would just be taking,
independent.
yeah, independent, exactly, and meeting new friends. And it's easy to meet friends because usually people just take the same classes every week. Um, and so, when you're taking 3, 4 classes a day or at auditions all day, soon you figure out your friend group. So I was just kind of doing that my first year, I would say. And
Did
then
you have like random jobs in between that didn't involve the industry, or were you very much just able to find jobs in the industry?
it was so hard to me, to be honest, get a to get used to just being in America because I love who I am as a Canadian and I love working in Canada. So I just felt like there would be maybe every like couple months a job in Vancouver and I would just fly back and I would work on it. And film and TV, sometimes it's like a month of work or sometimes it's 3 shoot dates in a span of a month. So you have to keep coming back to finish the job. But I would just keep wanting to do it because I was just so used to being able to just kind of get the job, like direct book. And so for me, I felt like I did lose my momentum in LA because I would keep going back. But it's like at that point there were now skeleton jobs in LA happening for there was a job for Descendants. They had some skeleton dancers, so I would work on the skeleton for 2 weeks in America,
Wow.
and then I would go to Vancouver to then start rehearsals there, and then we also like you know what I mean. So like I
That's
would
huge. And
yeah
I want to pause because like lots of listeners might know what skeleton is, but
yeah
getting offered a skeleton role is you are in the creative process. Like
hmm
literally you're building the skeleton of the movement on set. And so that is a huge sort of choreographer acknowledging a dancer and going, I want you
hmm
on my team when I'm building something that's new. And so that is huge for you to be in LA your first year there and getting skeleton roles. Like it's easy for us to just kind of like forget about that, but those are huge roles. And so just
hmm
to clarify for listeners, when somebody says like I booked a skeleton, that's like even more like of a step up than getting the job.
hmm Yeah, and that's what was really cool for me is, and I would have to audition, don't get me wrong, but we would have like really fun closed Canadians only auditions in LA, and it just really felt special because, you can look around the room and like all these people that have worked so hard for their O1 visas and have been there maybe for a couple years before me, or that are fizzling out. It doesn't matter, we're all there and just it's so much love, it's so much support, and then they really pick from us because they know we're the best because we did start from our Canadian heritage and then move to America. So I've worked with Kenny Ortega because of these jobs so many times in LA. So I'm thankful for all those jobs that I've done with him. I've done a lot of skeletons with him. Um, and yeah, so I would say just the people I worked with in Canada that are American, I would then work with in America. So that was really special to me to see them both in Canada, but then be hired in America as well.
And when did you start to see like, or when you were able to, because you had to reapply, you always have to renew, you always have to renew. So sounds like you had more than enough to continue to renew and get approved. But when I look at your track record, and your resume, like you really started to hit like dream roles. And it's not out of luck, it's not out of coincidence. It's purely because you worked hard for it, you got yourself in the right rooms, you made eye to eye connection and worked hard. So when would you start to say like your dreams and aspirations like just kind of met your reality, with Super Bowl, with Emmys. Like, I mean, these jobs that you've done are childhood dreams. So, give me like, was there a moment that you felt a shift, or was it very organic? These bigger jobs started to like come into your life.
Okay. So I will go back and let you know that a lot of the best training that I've ever had was from Monsters of Hip Hop Dance Convention. Um, I was nominated like 3 years in a row, never got like the cast, which is what you want because then you get to go to LA and then work with these choreographers and training, and then you do a couple shows. Obviously, fast forward, thankful for what it gave me because it did give me that, but I'm all good with that because I had then also met a lot of choreographers that I would then fast forward meet in America. And the best training in the world is that uncomfortable training, dancing on carpet, no mirrors, all day, 8 hour days, like pushing yourself, maybe taking a class that maybe isn't your favorite style, but eventually down the road, it is your favorite style. Just like being open to meeting new people from around the world. It's like that for the 3 years of me traveling with them and taking a lot of their dance conventions, that was like where I got a lot of my good training as a commercial dancer. Um, then fast forward moving to LA. The reason it helped me for LA is because I was like a machine when you're in these auditions with like 400 females because they will pack you in. There's no space to dance. And it's hot and you're half naked. When you're, in these in these positions, you just all you have is to believe in yourself. Like it's true. You can't see yourself in the mirror. You're maybe learning from the person in front of you. You're just in the most uncomfortable situations ever, and then maybe they'll also turn you around and put you in a smaller group, and then now you don't have the mirror in front of you. You have a camera in front of you. You have to slate. You're sweaty, you're gross, but you still have to look.
Jeez.
So I feel like I kind of was like just put in so many positions that I was just like, this is who I am, take it or leave it, and just very confident with who I was. And did I black out and forget some choreography? Yes. Did I sometimes not do the best and I was hard on myself? Yes. But at the end of the day, like I knew who I was, and it's very important when you do move to LA that you figure out that quick because no one's going to help you figure that out. Like you got to kind of
Mm.
know who you are and be a full package so that they know what you're selling and what you can bring to the table for these jobs.
Yeah, like you show any sort of questioning of your abilities, even an ounce of somebody sensing that in, casting rooms or anything, it's just like you're not ready yet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so you have to fake it. Like, if that's what it takes, then you have to fake it. And I think everyone's faking it. When you step into these new roles, who isn't faking it? And so it's a matter of who's faking it the best, I think, at certain points.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's such a good lesson for me to hear, let alone listeners that I know are young and eager to start developing their career in the industry. So thank you for highlighting that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Monsters in that environment really did sort of set the bar for the training and gave you the skills and toolkit for you to then use for these bigger roles. Is that where you were
Yeah, I
kind
wouldn't
of?
say LA shaped me to be who I was. I feel like it was those dance conventions, and it doesn't have to be monsters. There's a lot of great ones nowadays, but I would say traveling and training and doing it without a mirror on carpet. There's a piece of wood and you want to make it to that piece of wood, but you got to feel confident in that combo because then you know everyone's eyes are on you. It's like just all those things that you're going through as you train and you develop who you are and your confidence, like, and then oh my god, they saw me and they selected me to come on stage, and then now I'm performing with 40 people at the end of the class and they're filming us. Like it was all those little milestones that eventually in life you'll realize really helped you um, in your confidence and just kind of just at this point just not caring what everybody else thought because it is what it is. It's dance. It's not that serious. It's supposed to be fun. And there's so many situations in this career that are going to be so negative. So when you do truly find the positive, it's like the best feeling in the world and something you'll never forget.
Man, I thank you for sharing these insights. It's exactly what honestly, the reason why I started this podcast is to talk to industry experts and those leading the way to get into their brains and we're all human at the end of the day. But to just know how they think, how they operate,
Mhm.
and reflecting back on their journeys, how that info might help somebody else. It's like gold to me. So thank you for sharing. I want to kind of carve away at some of the crazy, crazy things that you've done in your career and the rooms you've been in. So, I mean, like, talk to us about some of the major celebrities that you have danced with. I see, who do I have here? I have Demi Lovato. I have Chris Brown. I have like these artists. I was like picking my jaw up off the floor. So did you find that you enjoyed the experience dancing on stage with these type of figures, or I mean, obviously you did, or else you
Yeah.
wouldn't have kept going back. But what was the experience like? What was your mindset like? Yeah, where were you psychologically? That's crazy to me.
So I think what's really kind of cool is I think when I was younger, I learned real quick not to like, be starstruck or be unprofessional around these celebrities because, um, they're human and they're cool and they're actually very insecure too. And when they are in a room full of dancers, that's when they might look like they have an ego, but it's just because they're scared and they're nervous and they're insecure. So I feel like just knowing that very early in my career, moving to LA and then being around, I would say even more celebrities that you would watch on TV when you were a kid, it was just like very chill and normal, and I would be around people with egos, and I would be around people with X, Y, and Z, but I kind of knew how to handle it, because when you are in a room with for Skeleton, for example, you are working with these actors in those rooms, or if I am a dance double or somebody for one of these artists, like Jordan Sparks, I did like a job and then I had to jump in for her and then she jumped in. She's absolutely amazing. But like it's knowing how to work with them, teaching them the steps before they get in the room, and then like letting them do their thing, because really they're going to do it the way they want to do it, which is why they are who they are. So you can give them the kind of bread and butter of what we've created for them, but at the end of the day, it's up to them with what they're going to take from that. So just learning that, um, and just being very kind and aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it, because a lot of people are very sensitive in this industry. Um, it is cool when you get to work with artists, because for like the tour I did a tour with Haley Steinfeld, which was really, really fun. This was when she was really high on her singing game. We got to travel with her, and just she was a joy to work with. We would be on the shuttles with her. She wouldn't just have her own separate shuttle. She would have us in there with her. We would stop at like her family friend's mansion on the way to these shows, and then we would, you know, come in, say hi to people, use the bathroom, and then jump back on and go. So it was very like chill to have opportunities like that. And then I've worked with Taylor Swift, who probably was one of my favorite artists within the last couple years to work with, because she's so kind to everyone she works with, whether it be fake or not. She still wants to learn your name, talk to you like a human, and be cool to work with and fun. And I remember this was a couple years ago, so I've had a visa since. She literally said, "Hey, like if anybody wants photos and stuff like that, like we're gonna have a time frame that like I can take photos with all you guys." And when we heard that, we were like, "Okay, girl." Like, you know, like sometimes you're like, we didn't even want a photo. Like why are you being so cocky? But no, it wasn't a cocky thing. She had her professional photographer take individual photos with us. So I have this photo with her that we look like best friends. But guess what? I breezed through my visa because of it. And like
Yeah, you were like,
she like she didn't know what she was doing. She was just being thoughtful Taylor, that instead of taking a group photo of 100 of us, she took an hour to do individual photos, which I just thought no artist has ever offered that before, especially when
wow.
we hadn't even asked yet. That was the funny part about it. But fast forward, I would be so thankful, because that really helped, um, for me.
And coming
And it
from
would
an
just,
artist, she obviously knows, like working with
yeah.
artists, you know.
And then, you
Man.
know, I will say, as much as like my dance career has been so fulfilling for me as a kid to now, the last few years I've stepped out of auditioning, stepped out of branding myself as a dancer and more of a choreographer, um,
Hey.
which has been really fulfilling in such a different way. It's been scary because when you aren't taking class regularly and getting class footage as a dancer and auditioning and doing all the cattle calls and taking regular headshots and all the things that I would have done prior, um, and just kind of simply representing myself more as a choreographer. It's slower, but it's also really, really cool when you do finally land those jobs, because you're 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 learning new skills, you're working with great people, you're at a different level in your stature. Like you know, now people are
Yes.
asking me for help, and instead of me being the dancer and asking the choreographer for help, it's the other way around. So it's just super fulfilling.
Do you have imposter syndrome with anything?
Uh, it is hard for me knowing that I can do all of these styles, that sometimes the jobs I book are very specifically one style. So you kind of feel sometimes like, oh, I just wish I could showcase who I truly am. And it's hard. Like me as a choreographer, I think when I do get to do and create my own choreography, like I just did a music video a couple months ago for Laura Morano, who I've worked
Come
with.
on.
Yeah, I love her. I've worked with her for like over 10 years, and to see her growth as an artist, but as an actor, it's just amazing and inspiring. But she hired me to do her music video, and it was so amazing because I got to choreograph it, and then Carl, my husband, got to assist me. Um, so just to be able to create also with a dancer, because my husband's a dancer, was so fulfilling, felt so good. And Laura looked so beautiful, and we had dancers with her that she trusted, and she's just such a great artist and trusts me. So when I get to do that, it's not feeling like I'm doing other styles that I wish I wasn't doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay, before I go into the last chunk of just like random questions,
Mhm.
I want to talk to you about your experience with the Super Bowl and your experience working on the choreography side of the Emmy
I didn't
Awards.
do the Super Bowl, but I did the Emmy.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, you did Emmys,
yeah.
so I don't know why I have Super Bowl.
It's all
Did you
good.
work with two back-to-back Emmys? Was it 73rd and
Hmm.
74th?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, look at me.
But
Look at
no
me,
Super
good
Bowl.
research.
Super Bowl.
Okay,
Super
no
Bowl's
Super Bowl.
though. Yeah.
Okay, but now that I've said it, come on, Super Bowl. No, the Emmys though, I do want to hear what that experience was like being on the choreography side of it.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, were you just was it something you were expecting? And I don't, I'm not like setting you up to sound cocky or anything, but was it, you know how there's just moments in your life where you're like yes, this makes sense, and there's other moments in your life where like, wait, let me like clear my eyes and read that again. Like
Hmm.
where were you when you were offered this role? Did you feel like it was something that you were expecting, or was it out of complete surprise?
So I'll take it first and foremost and give you a side. What? Anyways, okay. So first and foremost,
Sidebar. Yeah.
yeah, sidebar. I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of these assistant positions without Draco Johnson hiring me and having me on his team. I've worked on so many incredible projects with him, and he's brought me in, and he's my mentor, like great friend, like family member at this point. I just look up to him so much, and I've worked and learned so many things from him. And he's just such a great person to work under. So he got the Emmys. He asked me to assist him. Most of the time, from a lot of friends of mine that have been assistants, they get to assist a lot of these great projects, but then they also get to jump in and dance. So
Mm.
that's always a dream of mine because you get the double check. You get to be on the, on both sides and get that camera time. So sometimes that does not happen. And that's something that I think I had to get over real quick because I still am so thankful for all these opportunities. But the Teya that I'm used to on camera was fizzling out because I was put in these other positions. So it was kind of hard for me at first, but I was just so fulfilled after the fact because all these people are just so thankful for my leadership and like my, everything that I've given them um, and support. So I will say the Emmys was incredible. The first one was super fun and less crazy on the dance. So they wanted us to do the opening number, but it was just like more so helping the actors find who they were while they were lip singing this song. So the only person that really had like direction of where they had to go was the host and LL Cool J. So to work with LL Cool J was unreal. It was just so surreal at that point because I'm giving him direction, which is so funny to me because again, he's like, yeah, yeah, the cool, cool, cool. And then he'll do the direction, but then he'll take it 10 times further because he's just so freaking rad. And then what's his name? Little Dicky? That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah,
because
yeah.
Lil Dicky was so fun to work with, and it was
No
just me.
kidding.
It was me cueing him and showing him his path. Like it wasn't like here's the lyrics and stuff like that. Like he knows what he's doing. So just working with the actors like that and the songwriters, singers, and stuff like that was just really fun. And then there would be some dancers we hired, but it was like freestyle and ambiance. So for that Emmys, it was really really cool. But the one after that was heavy on the dance. They wanted a
Mm.
huge opening number, showcasing choreography from all these past TV shows, like Game of Thrones and like Law and Order
Oh.
and stuff like that. So it was a huge project. This is something that I would have not been able to dance in and assist in because I was really needed as an assistant. Um,
Mm.
we had like 50 dancers, I think. So it was huge. So that was really fulfilling because I got to represent myself more as a choreographer. I was able to clean the dances.
Yeah.
I was able to do a lot of the jobs that Draco can usually do for himself because he trusted me more and also he needed me. So it was really fun. That was really, really, really cool. And I'll never forget that. And then also working with the host, it was just fun because there was some choreography that I gave him. I literally was him in rehearsal. So I would
Who
stand.
was the host that year? Do you
Oh,
remember?
no. Oh my God. I'm literally
Yeah,
going to
sorry. I knew I was like, Briggs, if you ask for this question, you're setting her up. Don't do that.
I know. I hate that
We'll
you
look
don't.
it up. I'll add it to the show notes.
Okay,
I'll look
okay.
it up.
Okay. So when I was stepping in for him in rehearsal, because he joined us later on after we made up all the choreography, so he would join us and we would present it to him because, you want to make sure he sees it first and he's aware of what he's about to jump into. He was so cool about it. He loved it. And then, a female playing him is just funny. So, and he's really been in the industry for a long time, so he knows who he is. He's funny. Uh, Great actor. So we'll get his name in there after. But
Yeah, yeah. Stay tuned. The
it was just
anticipation.
there's like a moment where he comes on stage. So I was just freestyling the steps and the blocking to show him like we kind of want to do something like this. I was just making it up as I was going. But then he was like, "Yo, that was so dope." He's like, "Can you teach me that?" I was like, "Oh shit," because you also this is an example. You don't want to overstep because what if
Mm,
Draco, the choreographer, is like I already had steps for him. Like, the fact that you were stepping in for him and showing him his path doesn't mean you're going to teach him some choreography. And then Draco said, "Yeah, Teya, teach him. It's all good." I was like, shit, okay. So I started, like, I completely made it up on the spot. But, like, again, this was supposed to be, like, a funny moment for him anyway. So it's nothing, like, intricate and hilarious and crazy. So when I'm choreographing, I'm just laughing in my brain because I was like, I wonder if he's going to actually take this and run with it. He took it, ran with it, and I was just like, wow, that was just like a fun
what a
moment.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, damn, okay. Like, you have it, you got it, Taya, choreograph this on the spot, give him the counts, make sure he's
Yeah.
confident. Like, it was a cool moment for me as a choreographer to be like, okay. So,
I can do this.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, that's wicked. What a memory. That is awesome. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the, your experience in the industry is tremendous. As a dancer and now as a choreographer, your current work, like you said, you're starting to step away from sort of that audition room as a dancer and maybe more now in the maybe casting departments or the choreography roles and all of that stuff, which is so exciting. I love new chapters and I love hearing like energy being sort of boosted up again as you kind of navigate new, yeah, chapters in your life. If if you were to, I guess, and some people have advice, some people don't. That's totally fine. Do you have any advice, something that you wish you knew sooner in your career, that you can offer to the audience, to the listeners, that might be sort of kind of looking at a career in the entertainment world? Do you have anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, I would say to anyone that wants to do this for a career and for a long time is to never compare themselves to their best friends, their acquaintances, people that are in auditions that may have booked it and they didn't. Just the comparison, it's so hard not to. So I will say don't do it. But again, we're only human and we'll do it. But just to take a second and just understand that sometimes it's more than just your talents, it's more than your looks, it's more than your skill, it's more than so many things. And sometimes it's just people want to hire their friends. So you never had a chance in the first place. And some people just want to stroke their egos and have auditions, but really they know who they want. And so, at the end of the day, it's so out of your control. So don't let that get to you. It's easier said than done, but I will remind those people that it is very true at the end of the day that you'll learn very quickly that some things are just out of your control. Whether you
Yeah.
think you have the perfect package or not, it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. Um, I think what's very important is to be a part of the right programs, put your money towards the right training, uh, because unfortunately, a lot of people are guilty of doing these programs because some people have no other choice. They need the money, they need to do something with their life, and they'll create these programs for kids that don't know better and really be just taking their money. They've never experienced tours before. They've never experienced professional jobs. They've never experienced having their own one visa. They've never experienced a lot of the things that they're preaching and trying to teach these kids. And unfortunately, they're getting the wrong training. So then they're just taking them back instead of going forward. So,
Mm.
especially in Vancouver and other places, it's just sad to see because I mean, just recently, there's just so many training programs, so many companies, so many this, so many
Ooh,
that. And I can't help but feel bad for Vancouver because there is a drought.
oversaturated market.
Yeah, and there's so many amazing, talented kids that have just moved from smaller towns of Canada to be able to train and hopefully start doing the things that I've had the chance to do when I was their age. And it'll come back. It'll come back around, and they'll be more than ready. But in the meantime, to not just think that the next training program that you see online or on Instagram is the one you should do.
Yeah.
And I've been very vocal about that, and I've been trying to teach in Vancouver as much as I can and bring choreographers that, have helped me with my career, and hopefully we'll see something in them too and remember them because it is the only way you are going to be able to, as a Canadian, do the things that I've done. Um, and it's harder now. It's more expensive. It's harder now. And I will say the industry has completely shifted in LA. Um, whether it's for the better or not, that's for whoever to say. But I'm just super thankful for the time frame that I was first moving to LA because I had the back in the day Debbie Reynolds. I had the old Millennium. I had the first ML.
Mm.
I had all the studios that were brand spanking new and really hot at the time. Um, and now it's not so much like that, right? Like it's still great. I would still tell people to get their visas if that's something they want to do, but I would just say ask me if you know me and you've taken my class before or you just want to get to know me more. I'm all about people hitting me up in my DMs,
Mm.
especially if
I'll add you to the show notes. I'll add all like your Insta handle.
because I'm so for helping people, and a lot of people recently even have asked me about programs in LA. A lot of Canadians are like, hey, I wanted to take this program, but it's $4,000. I said, hell no. Like, why pay $4,000 to maybe work for this choreographer? It's insane, and it's only I think once a week for the month. So you're paying $4,000. It's $1,000 a week. It's insane to me. And but the choreographer does get jobs, but I'm just like if you're not at that level and ready to work, or certain things, you don't have your visa or whatever it is, I would never tell somebody to go pay that money. There are people that will help you if they truly believe in you for way less money than that. So there's opportunities,
Yes.
there's other resources, and that's why I remind everybody that would be my biggest thing is just don't be scared to ask people that you look up to,
Mm-hmm.
that you want to find out information from that would give you the honest truth before you just dive into something and regret it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Okay. Randoms, fire round slash just like quick questions. Very off industry entertainment topic. Okay. Would you rather read a book or watch a movie?
Watch a movie.
Okay, movie. Sunrise or sunset?
Ooh, sunset.
Okay. Do you have any like random pet peeves? Like just like
Mm.
day-to-day pet peeves?
Day-to-day pet peeves. People that are late.
Tardiness.
Yeah, you're at lunch and you're waiting for your friends and you've been there and they're still not pulling up. What the heck?
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. Superpower of choice?
I want to fly.
Yeah, okay, fair. Death row meal.
Death row me? What does that mean?
Like your last meal on Earth.
Interesting. Maybe sushi or like McDonald's. I don't know. If
Oh,
I'm in jail.
very
Yeah,
opposite.
I know because if I'm in jail, I'm like, ooh, I would love like a greasy burger and some fries or like some shit that
Yeah,
would
yeah,
kill you
yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Or some really good authentic sushi. I don't know.
Okay, I love it. If you could have any career outside of the industry, what would you do? Or
Hmm.
is there like somebody that comes to mind that is doing a job that you would be like, that shit is for me?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd be cool to be like a professional singer or like, I mean, acting would be cool too, but I think maybe
So very much in the industry.
okay. Outside of the industry, I would be like a track star.
What? Do you have, did you race? Did you run? Do you
I
run?
did track and field in high school, and I have
Oh my God,
asthma,
that's dope.
so it
That's
didn't make it that
sick.
far. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Okay, and then my last one is just if you could have like a one liner on your comes across as darker and sad, but it's not. Like on your tombstone,
Oh my God.
what would that like I know. It's just like to to just have a statement out in the universe. Do you have anything that comes to mind? That one that like has kind of just always replayed in your brain, no matter where you are in life.
No, maybe live, laugh, love, or see you soon. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. They're the cheesiest ones, the ones that we always say are ones that we always say for a reason. And like live, laugh, love is exactly what I meant. Like it's just it's those little sayings that yes, they're cheesy, yes, they kind of make you go like, I know it's silly, but
Yeah.
like they're there for a reason. I listened to somebody say one of their favorite the other day, and it was don't be or it was don't be good, be or don't be good, be your best or something like that. And it's just like simple, like if you think something is good enough, make it your best, like sort
Yeah.
of thing, like just little statements like that. I love. Anyways, it's an honor, a privilege, and just simply a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Like I said, I will share, if you're okay with it, your Instagram in the show notes.
Yeah, of course.
And then yeah, just keep frickin' carving out your path, because it is so unique and so inspiring, both for myself, but I know for so many others. And clearly, based on how many people recommended I connect with you, you are doing all of the right things. I know sometimes in this world of entertainment, it can get a little blurry if we're doing the right things, if we're on the right path, blah blah blah. But sometimes you just need to hear it from a third party. You are a breath of fresh air and a light for so many. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much for the kind words. That's so sweet. And I do it because I love it, as you are for this podcast. And I think it's just important for us to support each other. So I'm happy to have done this with you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Taya. All the love to you. Take care of yourself.
Same to you. Stay dry.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
That's a wrap on another episode of Briggs and Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. Thank you, Taya, for spending time with me. I hope listeners all pulled some inspiration from Taya's story. I do want to mention the fact that we didn't even get into the Wild Style workshop that she has founded and is really doing some tremendous work for the up and coming dancers and entertainers. Check her out on Instagram. It's just at Teya Wild, TeyaWild. She also has her email and her agency's contact on her bio, so make sure you check that out. And as always, if you have any questions for me and you want to share any questions or any comments or any suggestions, even, please reach out to me either by email at admin@briggsandco.ca, or of course, my Instagram is always handy. It's Briggs _and _co_. Otherwise, have a tremendous rest of your day. I hope you all well. I hope wherever you are in the world that this fall season is leaving you feeling fresh and looking forward to the months ahead. Take care, everyone. And hey, keep leaving average for Joe.